I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Rob Viglione, the CEO of Horizon Labs and co-founder of Horizon. Rob, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to see you again.
Ashton, pleasure to be back. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I know a lot has happened with Horizon since we last spoke last year, and in crypto years, that's like a decade. And I know that your team has done a lot of initiatives. There's a lot of new exciting things to talk about. And I would love for you to just kick it off for those who aren't familiar yet with Horizon. Just an overview of the platform and what are the specific initiatives you're working on, and then we'll dive into the details.
Sure. So Horizon is a programmable blockchain platform really focused on privacy. And we implement this in a sidechain context using zero-knowledge cryptography. So we're very much crypto geeks and focusing on data privacy and getting blockchain to scale to the mainstream.
Definitely. And I think that's something that's really needed right now, especially in the enterprise industry. And I know that your team's also focused on enterprises quite a bit to help them get involved as the big money flows in and the conglomerates flow into blockchain. Can you talk a little bit maybe on the enterprise side about some of those problems that these big companies are having getting into the industry and how exactly you're helping?
Sure. So there's a few big ones. And one, probably the most important one, is that a lot of enterprises don't know how to use blockchain and really why they want to use it. Everyone knows that this is an important technology. This is the future in some way. A lot of them are now really grappling with in what way. Right. So now one of our biggest focuses in Horizon Labs, the software development company, is working with enterprises and getting them familiar with the technology and then helping them guide them through specific use cases that would actually make sense to use blockchain for, and not just using blockchain for everything. Other important ones are congestion on popular public blockchain networks, prices that are scaling with usage in ways that really don't lend themselves well to like large scale blockchain adoption. And then probably the last one, and really bread and butter for us, is a lot of businesses and their customers don't want to put sensitive information on a public ledger without strong privacy.
Definitely. And I think that last one is super important. And that's partially why not all enterprises are using public blockchains, and there are private blockchains and hybrids and so on, where they can have more privacy and that confidential information for enterprises, which has a lot of value in it, is protected. And I'm curious, you've really seen blockchain on the enterprise side for the last few years now. Can you give a snapshot of what does it look like throughout halfway through 2021 here, enterprises entering into the space compared to this time last year, some of the important indicators in how many enterprises are actually getting involved in blockchain right now?
Right. So the two biggest stories in blockchain over the last year were NFTs. And on the enterprise side, NFTs are really where a lot of enterprises are using their entryway into the blockchain space, right? They're thinking about NFTs in a much broader context than just collectibles, although some of them are using the collectibles concept really well. Although others are looking at NFTs for things like digital subscriptions and getting tens of millions of NFTs out there to their customers. So that's a very interesting kind of gateway for a lot of enterprises. The other is on the DeFi side. And DeFi hasn't really been an enterprise adoption piece, but this is the other really big story in cryptocurrency. And for some, like one of our partners and customers, Celsius Network, it really has been a major part for them. So Celsius Network is the largest lender in the cryptocurrency space, where they take in crypto deposits, they lend out dollars or cryptocurrencies, and on the back end they do DeFi, right? So it's the CeFi app, but on the back end, the way that they give yield to their users is really entering the DeFi space and being able to participate in a number of ways. So that's a really important development, and others are starting to really come in that context. Stablecoins are another big one, but really thinking about enterprise blockchain from like a supply chain use case and maybe like IoT and other things. We're cultivating these use cases that they really haven't just exploded in the same ways that NFTs and DeFi have.
Definitely. And on the NFT side, I've seen some of these marketplaces, some of the largest companies in the world seem to have jumped right in, from Disney and Marvel to every other major brand already getting involved so quickly. And I think that's only going to continue to grow. And I think the intricacies of how they're going to integrate blockchain just into their companies overall for these enterprises is going to continue to grow as well. And I'm glad that you mentioned Celsius Network there as your customers. We just actually recently spoke with Alex, and the growth of their platform in the last year has been phenomenal. I think it was the top growing coin of all of the coins in 2020 as well. So it really does, these two trends, as you said, have really exploded. And I think we're still really early on as well, because there's just a small percentage of companies that have really fully capitalized on these enterprise blockchain solutions. And I know that you're helping a lot of enterprises with that. And just to go back a few minutes, we did speak about, there's private solutions, hybrid solutions. Not everyone's going to be using the Ethereum public blockchain to store all their confidential information. Could you talk about with Horizon, as you're helping enterprises, are you offering all of these different types of architectures for enterprise blockchain solutions, or what specifically are you helping on the technology side with these enterprises?
Yeah, so we're actually providing solutions across the entire gambit of it. So at our core, we have a totally decentralized public blockchain, and our sidechain technology is totally decentralized. So basically, our product that we offer is an SDK, a software development kit, and a business, a group of developers could take that SDK and launch their own layer one blockchains. Their layer one blockchains are really independent. They operate on their own, but they are interoperable by choice into the public Horizon blockchain ecosystem. And Zen, the cryptocurrency, actually could be like the gas on these independent L1s. So that's an important product, and they could be private. So businesses can keep these things like private consortium chains, like you see, down the Hyperledger, the Corda part of the industry, or they can be completely public blockchains that are actually decentralized, like an Ethereum, right? And then we could do all different types of services in between there, from smart contracting to issuing, tokens, NFTs, stablecoins, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that said, I'm speaking a little bit in the future because we just completed development of this platform a couple of months ago. It's been going through audit, third-party testing, and we're getting ready to go live at the end of Q3 with it.
That's great to hear. And yeah, to be able to provide these different layer one solutions, I think is going to be a great foundation for these enterprises. But I also was reading into the fact that Horizon has built out their own sidechain, Zendoo, and the sidechain has, at least with the public chains that are sort of lagging in scalability, it seems like it's a lot more scalable, at least for enterprises that are going to need to have a lot of throughput. Maybe you can talk a little bit about Zendoo, how you've been working on it. You were speaking about sidechains last year when we were on the show, but it seems like now it's almost ready to deploy to the mainnet. How is that functioning within the platform, and how are enterprises needing that?
Yeah, so it's actually massively scalable, and I'm glad you brought it up because we are positioning ourselves to be blockchain infrastructure for the enterprise marketplace. So we've been taking very meticulous steps over the years to make that possible, and some of these steps have been a little humble and quiet, like we built out the largest node network in the industry. So right now we have over 40,000 servers running around the world that are ready to support this big enterprise blockchain infrastructure. Zendoo itself is massively scalable. So each blockchain is a proof of stake blockchain, and we can have about 1,000 of them running in parallel on our network. So this is more than 10 times our even like the most scalable competitor that we come up against. In terms of transaction throughput, if you have 1,000 blockchains running in parallel, they're proof of stake, so you can have like 100,000 transactions happening per epoch of blocks. On average, we have something like 3 million transactions per block that are supportable on our main chain. Each block is every 2.5 minutes, so it comes down to like 20,000 transactions a second. It is huge. Now it's not. Now we have to put this in context. It's really not meant for like high frequency trading type of use cases. It's not that kind of lightning fast, because we have a global distributed blockchain network, but it is massively scalable for real blockchain use cases at the enterprise level.
Wow, that's great to hear. And 40,000 nodes, that's a lot compared to some of these major public networks. So that's crazy that you've sort of that's not, it's bigger news that not a lot of people have heard that. Is there a specific advantage, like the more nodes, the better, or maximum decentralization, or what is the competitive advantage of having tens of thousands of nodes?
Right. So for, number one, your network never goes down. So that's really important. And in particular, because we have seen some other networks actually go down for some days. which is kind of weird in the blockchain context, but some networks really don't have a lot of nodes supporting them. So that's kind of, I would say probabilistically close to zero for us, but you can achieve that with hundreds of nodes. You don't need 40,000 nodes. Why we have 40,000 nodes or more than that is because we have now a sidechain system, and we want to build a sidechain marketplace so that anyone can launch a sidechain. And like we said, you can have, with the V1 of our software, like 1,000 of them running in parallel. So we need a large set of nodes that could actually be, working with developers and businesses so they can run their sidechains. So if we have 1,000 blockchains running in parallel, 40,000 nodes is actually, probably maybe even too small. Maybe we need more, although they can run multiple sidechains in parallel. So we built out the network specifically for that purpose, and it's been very successful thus far, and really can't wait to go live on mainnet with the system.
Definitely, and that is incredible to hear. And for those viewers that are sort of just trying to understand, a lot of people understand Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they don't really understand enterprise solutions as much, or enterprises that are just looking to get involved. For these sidechains, is that more specifically when you're attaching it to a public network or for hybrid and private? Because if you have your own private blockchain and you could have the scalability, since you don't really need to have the decentralization in different nodes, is that more focused on there, or why would the enterprises specifically need to take advantage of the Zendoo sidechain?
Right, so a number of different reasons. And one, because we use the type of cryptography that we do, and zero knowledge crypto, it had a bit of a splash with Zcash going to market back in 2016, 17. Now we're going to see in, say, 2022 and beyond, I think ZKPs, zero knowledge proofs, are going to be that critical missing link, linking private blockchain to public blockchain. So it's kind of like that link, in the early days of networking, where you went from internets to the internet. The technology that we've been working on is that link, because you can run your own private blockchains, and you can still use our public network through the Zendoo protocol to validate, or at least verify, that the transactions that happened on your private network actually were valid transactions and conform to the rules of the system. You can publish the rules so the entire world can see what the rules are for what you're trying to achieve with your blockchain, but you don't have to disclose the data that's actually going on your private network. So that's the big missing link. And really, to get to your question, we want to bridge the gap between public and private blockchains so that we can actually provide the value that a public blockchain brings to the market, which is really information integrity or information certainty, immutability, the big things that blockchain brings, but still have that big privacy element that governments are going to demand, enterprises are going to demand. So we really do want to straddle that kind of critical value proposition.
Definitely, and that's a great explanation. Thank you for that, Rob. And now you've been working on this for a year. From what I understand, it's not fully deployed in the mainnet yet. Or can you talk about where exactly it's at, when it's going into the market, and if the enterprises are going to be utilizing this right away?
Yep. So we took the longer path, which has been a little bit painful. We actually came up with this idea 3 years ago when we were thinking about really how do you scale blockchain to the mainstream. And it's a modular architecture. It's a blockchain and blockchains type of world. And really, we think that this is critical to actually hit scale in the enterprise marketplace, because the idea of all of the world's economic activity going through a single blockchain just doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. And I think those conversations really are we're going to move beyond them. So we chose very deliberately to go this blockchain to blockchains architecture. And it's taken us 3 years to develop it, because it's actually a very sophisticated technology that uses zero knowledge proofs to link all of the sidechains back to the main chain. So you can issue your tokens, your coins on your own layer ones that you can deploy with our SDK, but you're still leveraging the main blockchain network for security, which is really important. So that was the path that we took. And it's been a long road. Where we stand now is we're done with development. We've been done with development for the last couple of months, but because it's such an important upgrade to the system, we're going through 2 independent third-party audits. And we just received the results from the first audit and actually passed with flying colors. We're actually integrating some findings for there. And we've already tested a deployment from one testnet to another testnet so that we have the mechanics down for when we go to the mainnet. But we're looking at that mainnet deployment at the end of Q3, maybe even a little sooner if things keep on going as smoothly as they have.
Definitely. Well, that's great to hear. And I will be following along as that gets integrated into the mainnet, Rob. So, we are running short on time, but I want to look towards the future and for, the widespread mainstream adoption for enterprises of blockchains and of the Zen technology specifically as well. What do you see as one of the main key factors to success that's going to have Horizon's technology implemented into enterprises globally?
Yeah, so we're starting humble and starting very specifically. And really, the product that we're building for Celsius, it's called ZK Audit. And this is really a showcase of the technology to show the world that how powerful it is. So what we're doing specifically is we're able to audit near real time all of the cryptocurrency reserves that Celsius has. So right now you have to trust the company, you have to trust their auditors, maybe annually they do an audit. But now we do cryptographic audits near real time of the reserves using zero knowledge proofs. So actually we don't leak information from institutional clients, any fund flows across the network, but we still cryptographically prove the reserves that they hold. That's the first client and first use case. We use Bitcoin actually, running on a Horizon sidechain. We reconstruct the entire Bitcoin network and all the transactions on a snark-friendly Horizon sidechain. But that's beyond the point. Now what we're doing is we're driving a whole bunch of other business into that same product, and we can even audit private blockchains with that product. So to the extent that we're successful, like this is the type of thing where this could disrupt the entire idea of audit. So think EY, Ernst & Young, PwC, Deloitte, everything that they do manually, we can now do, at least in the cryptocurrency world, near real time with cryptographic certainty. So this is a really big product, and this is just one use case of the sidechain technology. But as we deploy other ones, and our path to market to make it actually successful is we build the modules that others could take the modules, add it to the SDK, launch their platform. So the concept of a module would be something like an NFT module. So you combine an NFT module with the SDK, and all of a sudden you can launch your own NFT platform, right? We can do this with a stablecoin module, like a decentralized exchange module, an automated market maker module, you name it. Really, everything that's going on in the crypto world now, think enterprise grade version and different modules that you can now like add to your layer one solution and deploy seamlessly, low cost, best in class security, and best in class data privacy for your clients. So that's our path to market. And right now it's working really well. Even before we launch, we're using beta technology, a beta version of the technology with these early clients to really battle test it and get things deployed seamlessly when we go to mainnet.
Definitely. And that sounds huge, Rob, to revolutionize the entire auditing industry. And that's something that's very exciting. So I will be looking forward to that as your team continues to work on that. But for now, deploying Zendoo, getting it into the market, working with Celsius, I will be following along for those updates. And for the viewers that are looking to follow along as well, what's the best way for them to learn more about Horizon, get involved with the community, follow along as you roll out these updates?
So Horizon.io is the one-stop shop for everything. But from there, I recommend check out, if you want to join the community, join our Discord channel. That's where all the action happens. We have a Telegram group and really all of the other standard channels. You can follow us on Twitter and so forth.
Sounds great, Rob. I will leave all those links in the description box below for the viewers. All the best with these rollouts moving forward, and let's follow up in the near future.
Cool. Thanks, Ashton. Look forward to it.